Welcome to DFS Insights. I'm David Geislinger, and I'm joined by my cousin David Grant Jr. The teams up on the block for this after-hour slate are the Miami Heat versus the Los Angeles Lakers and the Orlando Magic versus the Sacramento Kings. Let's go ahead and get straight into this after-hour slate breakdown, where each one of us will be breaking down one player from these salary tiers that we divided up. Tier 1 being 9K salary plus. Tier 2, 9K to 7K. Tier 3, 7K to 5K. And then your Tier 4, which is your 5K and below players. So, David, go ahead and start us off. Who do you have in your Tier 1 9K plus pick?
So, obviously you and I are both diehard Kings fans, and as you can tell by all the swag that we got on, so, we obviously, you're a season ticket holder. I used to have season tickets for about 20 years, so we know our Kings teams, we know them well, so just keep that in mind, as we do make our picks here. My 9K plus is going to be Bam Adebayo. We only have a couple guys above that. I mean, it looks like we got like Bam, AD, and LeBron really. And I think it's just a no-brainer. At 9,100, Bam, especially with all the injuries and everything going on, he is a must-play. On Fanduel, there's a one spot for center. He is only center eligible to play. But judging by the other centers that are there, at least the other ones that I would really want to put into my lineups are also power forward eligible. So Bam is just a lock and load at 9K. His upside is, honestly, about 65, 70 plus. So, I'm going with Bam. Who do you got here?
Nice.
For your 9K.
Well, here's a good example where we don't really talk about the players we picked before. So I'm actually going to second that. My player above the 9K is also Bam Adebayo. But I have him simply the fact that I'm looking at salary at 9,100. It's 2K less than AD. If I did end up going with him too, I have the option to put him in the power forward slot. So Bam being center eligible only is kind of almost like given based on his salary. Typically you want to hit that 5 times multiplier based on the salary range, so that puts him at he needs about a 45.5 fantasy night to get value, and it looks like the last 5 games he's hitting it twice. I'd call it 2.5 times. He did hit 42 against the Clippers here. I think he definitely has the potential to hit that 5 times mark, and not to mention last time they played the Lakers, he got 66.6 fantasy points. So that's clearly above that 5K multiplier. So that's why I'm choosing him for my lineup. I don't really see too many, other options value-wise above the 9K. Obviously, there are good players above 9K, but so moving down here, I'll go ahead and let you start off. Who do you have as your tier 2, your 9K to 7K player?
Yeah. So the tier 2, again, this is only a 2-game slate, and this slate, every slate's going to be different. I did notice that there's not really a must play in this range, and that's due to there being so many injuries. So you might find yourself doing a little bit more of a balanced lineup rather than a stars and scrubs type of a lineup. Again, but no disrespect, if you're in the NBA, you're not a scrub, but that's just the term that we use here with daily fantasy. However, if I were to make a pick between the 7 and 9K, and again, there's not really a whole lot of options, but if I were to pick one, it is going to be Blanchero of Orlando. They played last night at Golden State and ended up losing. The Kings are coming off we were 14-point favorites, and we're coming off an overtime loss to Charlotte, which is pathetic. And put it this way, you know, Blanchero's been in the optimal lineup, I believe the last 2 times, and then on top of that, the Kings are an up-paced team. Orlando is not really that high of paced of a team, so it's going to raise up. I can see Orlando getting a couple more possessions, and so I could definitely see Blanchero having. I mean, again, at between 7 and 9K, his ceiling is around 60, 65, right in there. So, and he has a decent floor. I mean, I do know, as you can see, it can be a little sporadic if Franz Wagner ends up deciding to, have one of his games. But for the most part, Blanchero's, coming in consistent. So I'm going to pick him as my 7 to 9K guy.
Nice. Okay. No, I definitely agree with him. I was leaning definitely towards him. Like, I'm like 50-50 split. So literally, I agree with you on the Banchero. He needs, with the 5-time multiplier, he needs, about 48. Terrible math. 43 points to make optimal, and it looks like he's hitting it basically 4 out of the last 5 times. So he's definitely going to have value, but for the sake of giving more value to our audience here, I'm going to go with Franz Wagner because I believe it's like you can almost basically swap these out in your lineups. They have eerily similar. They're both small forward, power forward eligible. So either position you have, Franz Wagner is about 8,300. So you need just slightly 41.5 fantasy points to hit it, and it looks like he's hit it 3 out of the last 5 times as well. Kings, both Kings and Orlando are coming off back-to-back games, both losing, even though the Kings were a little bit more embarrassing. And not to mention, this is the 3rd game out of 4 days for both teams. So minutes are going to come into huge. Looking back at similar scenarios, Kings have been blown out in basically all their back-to-back games. And Orlando has, typically won, or if not, kept the matchups close. So I can see if the Kings keep up the trend getting blown out, that Franz Wagner or Banchero will be definitely part of that scenario. So yeah, I'm going to go with Franz Wagner here in the tier 2 for mine. But like I said, that's interchangeable with Banchero, to be honest.
My apologies if you guys hear my dogs barking at all. I think my dog was either agreeing with me or you. She's barked a couple times after our picks. Oh, hey, hi, pretty girl. Okay, yep, she's coming up. My door's supposed to be shut, but she's been barking right on cue with our picks. So I'm thinking that they're probably pretty solid.
Yeah,
pretty solid.
All right, moving down to tier 3, I'll start it off for the 7K to 5K players, and I think, I'm looking at. I think I'm going to lean with Jalen Suggs on this one. He's getting quite a bit of minutes in the last few times. The last 2 games he hasn't been too, his floor seems to kind of have dropped the last 2 games. But however, if you look, 3, 4, or 5 games ago, he's, hitting that mid 20s, upper 30s, where, at a salary of 5,700, I'm really only looking for about 28.5 fantasy points to get value from him. And I can clearly see, he did break it once, and he's come close 2 other times out of the last 5. Hopefully, not sure kind of what happened with the Golden State and the Phoenix, but Sacramento is, I think, like you said, I have a feeling that their back-to-back isn't going to go, at least in the favor that I want it to go, being a Kings fan. But this is, like I said, daily fantasy sports, and I'm keeping my, bias out of it. And I think, to be honest, I think this Jalen Suggs will have a pretty good night, as the Kings are pretty weak against the shooting guard position. So
Yeah, yeah, and we like to run and gun, and again, I found it tough. Just like Blanchero and Wagner, it seems like Suggs and Anthony right now. As you can see, they're similar priced. They're kind of interchangeable as well, where we don't really know which guy is going to go off. So depending on how many lineups you're making the same lineup and just swapping one out for the other, is something smart to do when you're doing multiple lineups. If you are doing one lineup, then that's completely different, but just something to kind of keep in mind with a small slate, and something like this. I'll go ahead and, this is going to come probably as a huge shocker to you, but my guy between 5 and 7K is Mr. Duncan Robinson.
Please tell us why Duncan Robinson is your player from 5 to 7K.
Yeah, so Mr. Duncan Robinson himself, when the Lakers and the Heat played in the NBA Finals, Game 5, I will never forget. I just had a good feeling about him. I had him all over the place. I had him in the pro spot. I had him a lot in the flex, and this is in the single game. But that's where ownership really makes a difference. And his upside, you see him at 5,500. They have Jimmy Butler out. They have, all of their shooting people are out besides Hero. So, Duncan Robinson can catch fire easily, quickly, and has a ceiling of honestly 50. So he could hit 10x. He could hit 55. He could 10x his salary right now with the injury plagued Miami. But by the way, during that Game 5, I did win about $27,000. I put him in the pro spot. He was only 4% owned. I was a little chalky in some other places, but just by making that one small change, I had that lineup in several tournaments, so it did take first place. And not only I was confident enough to put it in a $55, but I also did put it in the main and multiple other tournaments. So, nice. Man, I love Duncan Robinson. Yes, I still need to get a tattoo of him. That's neither here nor there. That was a bet with my other friend as we were sweating that game out, and watching that. So nice. Duncan Robinson, to me, he's probably going to be pretty chalky tonight. I'd imagine around 40%, but that's fine. He's a easy plug and play for me. Nice. All day long.
Nice. So all right, moving on from Duncan Robinson, and hopefully he's a 20K player tonight for you. Yes, sir. Going down to our tier 4, which is our 5K and below tier. Who do you like there?
So, who I like for the 5K and below. This is crazy. So out of my four picks, I got another guy from the Heat. I got Mr. Kyle Lowry. He's right at 5K. Again, they're injury plagued, and at 5K, I can, as much as I want to promise every time, if I were to promise Kyle Lowry, as you can see, it's hard for me to even get it out of my mouth at this point. I want to promise you 5x. As you can see, he just played the Clippers and did not hit 5x by any means. But if anything, the game log trolls will see that and hopefully stay off of him, especially his last couple games. But if you do scroll down, against Charlotte, against Cleveland, against Milwaukee, his upside is 40, 45, even 50. If he does play 35 minutes tonight, I believe this is is it a 1 point spread in this? Five
and a half.
Yeah, 5.5. Yeah. So, and again, in NBA, that isn't much. I could, I'm hoping that he sees the floor for 30 minutes plus. If he does, I see him getting 6x, 7x pretty easily. Nice. So, again, it's Kyle Lowry, so you never know. But again, 3 of my 4 plays here are guys from the Heat. that is due to this injury stuff. Who do you got for your guy at 5K or under?
No, I like the Kyle Lowry play. He is starting, so he should get, if he does get the starting minutes, he is a pretty old veteran, so hopefully his minutes don't dwindle as the time goes on. But I'm gonna go with another Miami guy, but I'm gonna go down with just Jamal Cain, and I don't know how at 4,200. So with the salary like that, you're expecting 20 fantasy points from this guy, and I believe he will be starting tonight. I think the projection he had 34.8 minutes, but it was like 35 minutes last game against it. So he did hit that 20 points, and then he also hit 30 against Golden State. So if he is starting, which it does look like he will be starting, because Butler's out, Josh Robertson's probably out, Caleb Martin's out, Highsmith is out. I mean, who's not out for the Miami Heat? So this guy has the potential, and with the salary being at 42, that just allows you to put in those higher, those higher salary people. So I think he's going to be super chalky, just by, like I said, the principle of him being 4,200 and has, potential to hit that 5x mark real easy. And then, like I said, that will allow everybody to play, the higher people. So yeah, Jamal Cain will be my tier 4 player, the 5K and below. So
nice, yeah, like it.
Now with that, glad you guys listen to us break these down. So here's everybody's been waiting for. Here's our lineups here. Please, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. We'd be more than happy to follow up with any questions you have in regards to these lineups. Please, like I said, like the video. It does help us out, gets us put out in front of more people, and that way people can take advantage of this information that we are providing. And with that, I'll turn it over to David if he has anything left to say.
Hey, all I got to say is let's go Kings. Hopefully we can bounce back off of a disgusting loss to Charlotte. Be careful playing Kings guys tonight. Our rotation is kind of changed up. I guess Herder's kind of had a hand injury, and man, we're pretty stacked. Not with like superstars. I mean, yeah, we got Fox, we got Domantas Sabonis, we got Keegan Murray, but I mean, we're deep, and Mike Brown does like to utilize up to 10 people in the rotation. So it's a battle right now. A lot of our guys are playing well. Duarte, almost hit 10x. He's going to be super chalk tonight at 3,700. I'll give you guys a tip right now. I don't personally. I'm gonna fade most. I'm not gonna completely fade him, but I'm gonna try to stay. I'll be under-owned on the field. I don't see him doing that again. I could see Monk hitting. I could see just all sorts of other stuff. So I'll keep it short. If you guys got any other questions and want some more in-depth analysis, please hit us up in the comments. Other than that, good luck. Get that money.